Hey guys, so I wanted to kind of ask a question, and this is something that I think I've mentioned before, and maybe this is a time to kind of revisit it. But what do y'all consider normal for a teenager? And when I say that, I'm being totally serious. I'm not trying to be silly. But as an exceptional parent, you kind of want some of that normal. You do want your children to go through some of the normal things, but then you wonder, well, is this normal or not? Especially if you've never had a teen, right? So I can tell you from experience, I've now raised three children through their teen years, and I'm on my fourth one, who's 16. And so I want to tell you that your teens are going to go through phases. So the teenage years are some among the hardest. And everyone who's right now at the point where you have like a toddler, you're thinking, how could it get harder than this? And I don't mean to burst your bubble, but some things do get easier as the children get older, right? But unfortunately, as far as teenage years, the things that are most troubling are those things that are really going to matter as far as their, future. And so when you have, when you're going through the teenager rebellion and you're trying to figure out, well, I can no longer spank my child. How am I going to discipline my teenager? You start thinking of creative ways such as grounding, taking away privileges, those types of things. And so it does get harder in that sense. I mean, think about it. If you have a toddler and you don't want your toddler to touch a stove, you maybe, smack their hand and say, no, that's dangerous, Oh, they'll learn, obviously, because if once they touch a stove, then they'll know not to ever do it again, maybe, hopefully. Of course, with an exceptional child, that may have to take a few times. But anyway, or you put them in timeout. Now, with a teenager, you're forced to come up with creative ways of disciplining. And so because we live in the year 2022, electronics is at the heart of every teenage kid. They have their cell phone, they have their computers, they have their games. They're all run by electricity, or they all have screens. So we call it screen time, right? So when my kids were younger, that's what we used as the currency, was screen time. And we had the computer center located. Everyone had to use it right there. But unfortunately, as time goes on, technology gets more complex. Some of the gaming systems became like miniature computers. And then eventually they get a cell phone, which is pretty much like a computer in their hand. And although they're great tools, they can get kids into trouble. They expose them to things they don't need to. And, unfortunately, then you end up having to ground them. And so the teenage years are really hard. So what's considered normal, right? Obviously the rebellion. That's, one of the things. Testing limits, wanting to be more independent. Teenagers tend to, have their own opinions compared to, how they used to be. They might want to question some things. They might question their faith. They might question what they learned from you, because their world is expanding, and so they are absorbing more information. Another thing that's hard is they are trying to figure out who they are, and so that's a really hard thing for a teenager, especially on the spectrum, or if they're an exceptional child. It's like who they are is, for a typical teenager, they care about what other people think. Well, our exceptional children are just the same. They care about what people think. And so, yeah, they're going to be challenged in ways that they have never been challenged before. It is up to you as a parent to help them with their self-esteem, which is so important. Be careful of critical feedback. For every negative thing, it'll take 20-something positive things to undo it. That's a rule of thumb I heard somewhere. And it's so true. So be careful of criticism, especially if they come to you. There's ways of being honest without being critical. And if you don't know the answer to something, don't fake it. Look it up with them. find out together, because you don't want them to catch you in a lie. Once you've defied, just like with us, once they've defied our trust, and it's hard to earn it back. Same thing for them. All right, those are just some of my thoughts for today. As always, good luck on your journey, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye.